effectively engage in the public square? It's a good question. I think there's a couple answers. I would say, first and foremost, and there's a guy named Steve at my church who I really, really respect. He just moved here. And he's already, his first thing was, I'm going to a city council meeting and I'm just going to be there and I'm going to start showing up to those and I'm going to have a voice there. If Christians had the same kind of commitment to local politics as leftists did, we would have a conservative country. That's just it. We're not. We've been running up the credit cards waiting for Jesus to come back. Meanwhile, leftists are building institutions and taking over the institutions that Christians built. So get involved locally. That's one way to get into the public square. I would say that's probably your best bet, is to actually get passionate about your local government. That's one thing. Two, people will say, don't let Twitter or X become your whole life or anything like that. But it is a good place to start. It's a good place to start learning. It's a good place to start listening to other people, reading the cultural context of the day. You can really get a lot of that. And if you want to have a voice there, be consistent. Say, all right, I've got a message that I want to get out there, so I'm going to craft a strategy. So I wouldn't be on X if I wasn't building an audience, personally, if I wasn't building a business. Because, not that it's bad to, I think it's great to. I'm glad that other people engage with my stuff. But I know my personality, and I just get too into things, And so there's a danger in thinking that you're making this huge difference on X. Meanwhile, like my rant a second ago, you haven't met your neighbors. I'm going to make this nation Christian. You don't know anyone's name that lives to your left and right. I think that's a huge despair. That's a huge problem. But it's not it's not nothing. Getting on X and beginning to use your voice, and it's contributing to a cultural vibe shift. And I think that's good in moderation, and done wisely. So I would say utilizing social media. I would say if you are going to use social media at all, do not be a passive consumer. Understand that social media, conceptualize it as a tool in your tool belt. What am I using it for? Am I using it to gain understanding of the times? You want to be a Minovisakar, right? The men who knew what time it was to know what Israel should do. Am I using it that way? Yes. Okay. So I'm reading, I'm looking through things. That's great. Okay. Don't get addicted. Don't get sucked in. Am I using it to build an audience, to be able to have a voice, to say something? Okay. Then have a strategy for that. But don't just passively consume. Those would be my things.
That's good advice. That's good advice. And yes, I've mentioned this on my show 100 times. Your local politics, the decisions made at your city council meetings will affect you tomorrow. The decisions made in Washington, D.C. might not affect you for years. So it's extremely important to get involved locally.